welcome back to episode 2 of the Stitious podcast. I am your host, Natasha.
And I'm your co-host, Connor.
And today we are going to be talking about vampires. That was a reference to Sesame Street. You know, the vampire that counts? 1, 2, 3. No, 1. Ha. No, 1. Ha. 2. Ha ha. 3. Ha ha ha. I really hope that's how it went. Otherwise,
I honestly
lost.
I've never seen Sesame Street.
No, you haven't.
I don't know.
It's a vampire that helps kids count. It's actually pretty good.
Well, I know that
kids count because it's Count Dracula. Is that why? Is that why you have the Dracula count?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No, the vampire count. Count vampire. Anyway, sorry. Welcome to episode 2. Connor, vampires. Before you learn anything else, are you a believer or are you a non-believer?
I'm a non-believer when it comes to vampires. Not even a smidgen of doubt that they're natural.
Why?
It's just too unbelievable. Someone that attacks you and just sucks the blood from your neck, they'd be dead bodies. Because they're monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They can't control themselves when it comes to drinking blood. So you would just find bodies randomly on the floor, and either they own the media and it's not getting reported, but shit would come up. It would come up. You would hear at least once a month something.
But you know how you hear of the top 1% that are secretly manipulating the media and we don't know who they are and they keep their names out of everything. Would that not be them doing that? Because I feel like, to be honest, in this society, it's really easy to manipulate the media. I mean, just look at everything that's going on. Would you not think?
Yes and no, but there's always going to be the idiots, the idiot vampires, you know?
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm with you on that. I think I'm kind of mixed. I'm in terms of the mythical creatures that are vampires and the whole idea of creatures that turn into bats and are allergic to the sun and, drink blood and do all this. No. But I do think that there's a group of humans, who drink blood, whether it be for ritual practices or it's part of their culture or tribal things that happen. I think that there is a group of people that do that, as well as cannibals who probably love a bit of human blood on the side.
Because you get people that drink animal blood, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
As I don't know what's the reasons. Maybe religious ritual. Some reasons. Maybe you just like the taste.
People just indulge because I find it weird when people are like, I want my steak bloody. I'm like, that's a bit vampirish. That's a bit sus, isn't it? So in that sense, I don't think that they would be classed as vampires. That they'll probably go more into just people that enjoy blood than anything.
Oh my god, yeah, because you get those people that during sex they like to cut people and drink their blood and shit.
We're not gonna go into that. That's gross. That's too disgusting.
Maybe that's also where the idea of vampires came from.
Oh god, I hope not. Okay, so we're both family we're non-believers on going in.
What do you consider a vampire? If you were describing a vampire to someone that didn't know what a vampire was, what would you say?
I would say vampires are, to me anyway, are humanoid creatures with the ability to live forever. Well, not live forever, but they don't die.
See, I always hate the idea that call someone immortal that can still die. Shouldn't immortal be you can never die?
It's immortal in the sense that you don't age.
Yeah, but there's still...
Or if you got a disease that you are supposed to die from, you don't die from it.
But imagine I said, I'm giving you immortality, but you'd live forever unless you get stabbed. That's not immortality.
Yeah, okay, you can't just sit unless you get stabbed.
Well, unless something happens to you, it's going to be out of your control, don't go to war, or don't get hit by a car. It's am I really immortal or am I just not dying?
Well, okay, yeah. I don't know.
It feels like a cheat.
It is a cheat, but also you think about it and you're how many times are normal human beings just getting stabbed for no reason? Just chilling. Do you know what I mean? I've never been stabbed.
Touch wood.
In the sense of vampires, though, it's not just, if you get stabbed. For the most part,
it's a
wooden stake to the heart. You saying the stake thing, that's limiting vampires because not all of them die from that way. Well, the ones that I've been exposed to. some of them could get stabbed through the heart and they'd be like, okay, I'm fine. Like, what think you next? So I would say immortal in the sense they don't age, and some kind of like magic in the sense of they're very alluring, I guess manipulative. They manipulate you in. It's almost otherworldly in the sense.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the irresistible.
Exactly.
See, what I would love to see in like films and stuff, right? Because they always have like the vampires be very attractive, you know, because that's the alluring part.
Yeah.
Have them be like super ugly, but yet people are just drawn to them no matter what. Like, I want to see that. I feel like that would be great because, say, if it was a male vampire, have all the women be like crazy for him, and the guy's like, "What's going on here?"
Well, I mean, you say that, but like, look at Pete Davidson. Everyone is torn. No, this is not a dig at Pete Davidson, but you know what I mean. In the sense how everyone is torn, I feel like a lot of straight guys are just like, what is it about this guy? He's ugly. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And then you have his dating history of really, really amazing, attractive women that are just like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's something that they don't see. And people are constantly confused by it when in reality, he's not even really like ugly.
Pete Davidson, vampire?
Question mark? Well, that's why you're here, right, guys? So that's my definition. What's your definition?
I've never pictured a vampire being like someone from modern day. I'd never pictured the Twilight style vampire. Yeah. I always imagined the Victorian, like with the capes and with the little, you know, those little feather collar things.
Yeah.
They're always old as hell, like 16th century, 18th century. They've been along forever. And they always have like the same dress sense. They don't actually acclimate to like modern times. Like What We Do in the Shadows. I
never watched What We Do in the Shadows.
It's so good.
Recommended to me, but I have not had a chance.
Because they still dress how they used to back in the day. I think I'd do the same because your taste never really changes. Not really.
Right.
Yeah, so what do you picture when you picture vampires? Like your go-to, is it the old-timey vampires or do you picture the Twilight vampires?
First of all...
No, because there's bound to be people, right, that are just pictured like new, like kids. More modern kids.
Did kids grow up with Twilight?
No, but
like that? Like...
My idea of vampires are dangerous bloodsuckers.
Right, okay.
Where to them it will be like the sexy vampires, you know?
See, okay. My idea kind of is the sexy vampires, but not in like the Twilight sense. In the sense of, like, I don't know, more like Vampire Diaries kind of vibe, where it's like they're very, very dangerous. Because this goes back to like Dracula as well. Very dangerous, but very, very appealing. And everyone is just drawn to them no matter what. You know, like, all your inhibitions, your fight or flight response is gone. You want to be a part of it. You suddenly would love to die for them and like do all these things for them. And you can't control that. And then you would only really know after you're out of that to be like, that's if you're lucky enough to be out of that. It would be like a drug. Like
it would be like Sam.
Yeah.
Sam from Supernatural sucking the demon blood.
Yeah. I feel like after that, you would go through some kind of withdrawal because you're like, still like, I want to be with them. But they're like, I don't want anything to do with you. The hell. So that's what I picture.
But yes, I picture that, and then they have the ability to turn into bats.
So you that's a must for you.
Yeah, you have to be able to turn into a bat to be a vampire.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a given. That and hypnotism and can't see yourself in mirrors.
Oh, okay.
Although I actually learned why they can't see themselves in mirrors. Apparently because back in the day, they used to make mirrors with silver in it. And because vampires are allergic to silver, it just wouldn't reflect.
Interesting.
I don't know if they do it now, so maybe that's why we can see vampires and we don't know where they are in society.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't think of it. Because I don't know. I thought it had something to do with the soul. Because, like, the mirror is the window to the soul. So I thought because they don't have a soul, you don't see their reflection in a mirror. But that makes more sense.
I like
because,
that as well.
I just assumed that was what it was. But the silver makes so much more sense. What did you find out about vampires? What's the sitch, Wade?
I've always had different ways of becoming a vampire. It's either you get your blood sucked, but they don't kill you, and then you become a vampire. Or they drink your blood, you drink their blood, and then you become a vampire. Although, when I was researching, there was a bunch of other different ways where you became a vampire. Weirdly, it was said that you are a vampire if you're born with teeth. You can also become a vampire by being cursed. Right? So if you're born with teeth, you've been cursed, and eventually you will turn into a vampire.
I'm sorry, but the idea of being born with teeth is fucked.
Just a full set of veneers, you know, smiling, you're like...
I'm sure it's not like a full set of veneers, because that would hurt, right?
I mean...
Probably like a tooth.
I'd rather have my full set of teeth when I was a baby and I can't remember the name.
No, sir. That's creepy as hell. Can you imagine a baby coming out and just...
It'd be like a horse eating a cat. You could also be a vampire if you were born with some sort of defect, like an extra nipple, the lack of cartilage in your nose, a split lower lip in Russia.
Russia's wild.
It's very weird. It's very different.
Does that mean like a proper split, or like just like, you know, the crease that you get in the middle sometimes? Because some people have a really defined like a line. Like I think Dove Cameron has it, where it's like really defined line, like on the bottom lip.
Maybe that's what it is then. According to Romanian legend, you can know who is a vampire if you put a 7-year-old boy, on a white horse. The boy should be dressed in white, placed upon the horse, and the pair set loose in a graveyard at midday. Watch the horse wander around, and whichever grave is nearest when it finally stops is a vampire's grave.
First of all, Romania, what are you guys doing?
I don't know. Romania has so much like law and...
First of all, you have to get a white horse and a 7-year-old boy.
And dressed in white.
Dressed in white, of course.
Of course.
Who is agreeing to this with their child? Who's like, my child's a vampire, I know it. Take him.
Well, how did they know it worked? What's the mindset someone got in to be like, do you know how we find vampires? Get a 7-year-old boy, not a 6-year-old. Dress them in white, put them on a horse, and then it'll go to the right grave.
Oh my god!
Like, did someone pop out? Did something happen that made them go, "Yep, so this works"?
Surely,
you know, this is a proven tactic. It's like, was it Britain?
Yeah.
Where to find witches, they would poke moles, or they would
drown them.
Drown them if they didn't die.
That whole drowning thing is the stupidest thing.
Love it. It's it's just, it makes so much sense. If they die, my bad. If they don't die, witch.
But anyway.
But yeah, the thing with the horse.
Yeah.
It could be that because back in the day, people would just bury people and not know they were dead.
Yeah.
The horse could have just heard the noises.
That's true. And then it's like, oh, you're immortal, you're a vampire, you're meant to be dead, you're alive. Vampire.
But imagine that, you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm not actually dead. The family would be like, oh my god, that's so great.
No, they wouldn't. They
go,
wouldn't.
Let me stab you to kill you.
Yeah, because I think about it, and it's like, everyone in that room is running away. No one is being like, oh my god, yay. Everyone is out there. They're out. You are a zombie from all I know. Even though 2 seconds ago, they were just like being like, I hope you come back. No, son. All of a sudden, enemy number 1. Why are you back? How are you back? Oh my god. Crazy.
I can't find it here, but I remember reading something, right? Where in a certain country, it was either Russia, Poland, they have like a section that was dedicated to vampire graves.
Oh, wow.
And there was over like, I want to say 50 to 70 graves that they had considered to be vampires.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because, like, did the people know when they were alive that people thought they were vampires? Or was it like, okay, now that they're dead, we're going to bury them in this specific vampire location?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. Maybe it's that they woke up and they were like, oh, woke up, definitely vampire. Kill, vampire.
New grave site. Vampire grave. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because that's why they used to put the bells. So why invent the bells at all? Is that just to let you know?
No, okay. I think the bells came afterwards because I hope that at one point they realized that they were misdiagnosing people as dead. I don't know. Is death a diagnosis?
Death is
the ultimate
final journey.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, they were like, oh, we keep like burying people and they're actually, because technology wasn't there.
It was either people that had been, some of them were like really drunk. Mm-hmm. Some of them were just ill. I don't know, because I guess they just can check people's pulses. So people would just be like, you're dead.
You're dead. Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good invention though, the bell.
The bell.
Just like, a little bell. Like, I'm alive. I'm like, oh, sorry, my bad.
I could not be a graveyard worker and have the bells. Because that shit would freak me out.
Especially like, imagine it's just windy and all the bells start going off. That's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Terrifying.
Because again, I don't believe in zombies and I don't believe in vampires. So if I worked at a graveyard, I'd be fairly okay, unless the bells started to go off. Then I'd be like, yeah,
I believe.
Because again, we could be wrong. Vampires could exist.
We could be wrong. That's the beauty of it all. or the scariest part of it all. You could get snatched. If I go missing all of a sudden and I come back with significantly less blood, do you know what's happened?
You've donated blood?
No.
Oh.
If I donate blood, it's not a significant amount of blood that's missing from my system.
That was another thing I never got with Twilight.
Yeah.
Because they were always like, oh yeah, we're vegans. We drink animal blood.
Yeah.
He worked as a doctor.
Yeah.
He had access to blood.
Yeah, but it's for the people. We're going to talk about Twilight now. Okay. No, you brought this up. I blame myself. I do blame myself. Okay. Basically, even though they could just go off of like donated blood, the reason why they don't is because once you get a taste, it's really hard to then stop your urges. It's like, imagine gamblers. You can't just be like, okay, well, I've got a spare tenner. I'm just going to do this tenner. Because once you have that taste, you're like, fuck it, spend life savings. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's why. Because even if they could, even if it's ethically sourced blood, you have that sip and it's like...
That's fair enough.
You're ready to go hunting again. Do you know what I mean?
But can they become addicted?
They were addicted. He almost killed Bella that time when he was sucking the venom out. He was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but if you need something to live, you can't become addicted. Like, you don't need to be able to... Like, if you don't gamble, you're not going to die. No. But if they don't have blood, they are going to die.
No.
They don't die.
They have other sources, like animal blood.
Yeah, no, but that's still blood. Okay, it's still blood.
Yeah, but it's not human blood.
But they have
to can survive. Blood. Okay, yeah. In Twilight, they can survive on other blood that's not human blood. Whereas, so there was a TV series. It's a children's TV series called Young Dracula, and it was a horror drama comedy. It was on CBBC, and you'll remember that. Basically, this series, it was following the Dracula family. It was Vladimir, his father, Count Dracula, and then his older sister, Ingrid. And they lived in Transylvania, and then they moved to Stokely, which is like a small British town. And essentially they had moved because there was a lot of like angry mobs and things like that going on in Transylvania, so they needed to move somewhere a little bit more low-key. The series is basically just about Vladimir essentially growing up as a young Dracula and his father grooming him to become the next Count Dracula, the chosen one, you know, the big baddie. One of the things in which the series explores is the dad. He drinks human blood. Vlad doesn't want them to become like to be evil, especially when he's younger. So he has...
Wait, who's Vlad?
Vlad is the child.
The kid,
okay. Yeah. So he gets his like little minion, Renfield, to go and get him blood. And he would like, you know, steal it from like blood drives and all of this stuff. But when he doesn't drink the blood, he becomes really, really weak. It's one of his weaknesses is literally hunger. Specifically, yeah. So the more human blood that he drinks, the stronger that he becomes. But like if he doesn't drink enough of it, like his powers start to not work properly. He literally becomes frail and weak and can't really move much. The color in his skin, like he's already pale, but it goes from white to like gray.
See, because I always pictured when they don't have enough food, they just go feral. Like they become like a proper animal.
Oh,
and they just start killing.
That would make sense, but he becomes like almost like we become when we're hungry, just like very weak. And like unable to move. So in that sense, some of them probably do need blood to survive, but in the Twilight verse, they're not as strong. They're strongest when they're in human blood. If they drink animal blood, they're not like dying.
Fair enough. You know X-Files, right?
Yeah.
There's like an episode where they do it on vampires, which is really good. It's a really good episode. It's funny. It's called like Bad Blood. Mm-hmm. But the vampires they show in that aren't like proper vampires. So there's a kid and he's a vampire, but we don't have the teeth. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's another thing we forgot to mention with vampires. The teeth.
Yeah.
Have so much to vampires. Anyway, in the episode, he wears the fake vampire teeth because that's what they heard from. That's the idea that we have behind vampires.
Yeah.
And he liked the idea that we created for vampires more than him being a vampire. Also, when I did some research, apparently vampires have like OCD.
OCD?
Yes, because in the episode, the guy Mulder is getting attacked by the kid, and he throws sunflower seeds on the floor, and the kid has to start to pick them up and count them, and that's like one of the weaknesses.
The weakness of OCD. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane. My God.
Oh yeah, but going back to the immortality part, I can't remember in the episode. I think the kid gets stabbed, gets staked, but once they take the stake out, he comes back to life. So I'd accept that immortality, where you can die, but if you remove the thing that killed you, you come back. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, their weakness is like it's holy water, of course. Which I never really get why holy water affects them. I guess because they have no soul and I guess the demonic of soul. That, fire, decapitation, and then the classic stake to the heart.
Decapitation. No, I'm joking.
Actually, no, they always get staked in Vampire Slayer.
So in the originals, they have conditional immortality. So they can get killed by the source of their immortality. So stake carved from the white oak tree. But I think in Vampire Diaries, I think I'm remembering wrong, but aren't they like proper immortal?
Well, no, because they can't go out in the sun.
But they don't die.
If they went out in the sun, wouldn't they?
I don't know.
Dying from sunlight. That all comes from... Oh, it was Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, because Nosferatu is based off of Dracula. Bronze?
Bronze, yeah.
Bronze. So yeah, like all the lore from vampires basically comes from Bronze Dracula. And then everything takes little parts. Apart from Nosferatu, which adds the vulnerability to sunlight. But apparently it was so similar that Dracula, like the person that wrote Dracula, actually sued for copyright infringement. And again, if you're suing for copyright infringement on a story you created, then it can't be real. Because if I was creating a story about vampires, right, I would want as many people to know as possible.
What do you mean?
So like, say vampires were real.
Yeah.
And I was creating a story about them. I wouldn't matter if someone was copying that story. As long as the story got out to tell you, this is vampires, this is how you kill them. If I was spreading the word of vampires.
Right, I get you.
I wouldn't be suing someone for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Just for spreading the word a different way. Or maybe it's because he's telling people sunlight will affect them. But yeah, if I would create the story, because I guess that's the best way to like distribute it.
Yeah.
People will hear about it. And then that's way you'll know how to defend yourself against vampires.
I guess so, yeah.
That's just a thought. Although apparently the Dracula story is supposed to be based off of Vlad the Impaler.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what the research found.
I mean, you tell me here. Tell me the research.
Bram Stoker named Dracula after Vlad Dracul, born in Transylvania, Romania. He ruled Wallachia, Romania, off and on again from like 1456 to whatever. He earned his nickname because his favorite way to kill enemies was to impale them on a wooden stake. According to legend, Vlad Dracula enjoyed dining amidst his dying victims and dripping his bread in their blood. Yeah.
Okay.
But whether that's true, who knows? Because, 1456 was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's supposed to be where the idea of vampires stemmed from.
Interesting. Huh.
Well, that's where Bram Stoker's one comes from.
Yeah.
There's one in Egypt where it's like one of the gods was considered to be a vampire, and after like a brutal massacre, started drinking the blood of the war, like the humans that was spilled. Yeah, it's dark. We're talking about people that drink blood.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna be dark.
Yeah, what other ones have you found? Because I feel like it would be really interesting to go through.
Well, there was another actual human person called Mercy Brown. There's like the most famous vampire story where Mercy was a real person. She lived in Rhode Island and was the daughter to George Brown, a farmer. After George lost many family members, including Mercy, in the late 1800s to tuberculosis, his community used Mercy as a scapegoat to explain their deaths. It was common at the time to blame several deaths on the family members on the undead. The bodies of each dead family members were often exhumed and searched for signs of vampirism. So when they looked at Mercy's body, it was still perfectly intact pretty much. To be fair, it was a winter and she was left like a storeroom. It was basically, she wasn't going to decay that much because her body's being preserved by the cold.
Yeah.
But everyone was just like, vampire.
Fair.
So, as any logical people do, they dismembered her.
Oh, God.
They took her heart, burnt it, and fed the ashes to her brother. I don't know what the reason was.
What's that last bit? It just seems a bit unnecessary.
Maybe it was a punishment. Maybe it was to try and cure him in case vampirism.
But do they trick him into eating it, or they're like, you gotta eat it?
I feel like it was more, you're gonna eat it or we're gonna kill you. Pretty.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he ate it.
At least it was just the ashes, though, not the heart. Because,
I don't know. A cooked heart
No,
ashes.
no.
No, I'm just saying.
No, you cannibal.
All I'm saying is, at least it's cooked. You know you're not going to die from raw food.
Connor, I don't think the concern here was, oh, am I going to die from raw food? That's not what I was trying to get at, you weirdo.
No.
The concern was, you're going to have to live knowing you ate your sister's heart.
That's true, but would you rather eat a raw heart or a cooked heart?
What the No, I'm not answering that question. Because you're just trying to justify your weird way of thinking about this.
Anyway.
Oh, I wouldn't eat my sister's heart. I don't want to get friggin' food poisoning.
Anyway, he ate the ashes and died.
Well, yeah.
That was the reason I'm like, probably be better if it was a cooked heart.
He died from what? Was it just eating the ashes? Not even in like food, it was just eating them.
Oh, okay, he was sick. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
And then he died shortly after.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
There are 60 known examples of anti-vampire rituals in 18th and 19th century New England, and several others elsewhere in the country. These rituals were most common in eastern Connecticut and western Rhode Island. 60 known examples. That's a lot. How many of these work?
It was a problem, clearly for them.
Clearly, yeah.
It was a problem. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Right.
I'm so glad I don't live in the 19th century.
Same, for more reasons than that.
Although, other than the aesthetic, like some of the fits.
There's nothing stopping you from dressing like that now. I just want everyone to know this.
I would.
People are always like, I want to go back, not because of like the society, but because of the outfits. I'm like, you can do that right now.
I will.
Yeah.
When I get the money, I'll be dressing like Ichabod Crane, you know.
There you go.
So we've talked about the Dracula vampire. Mm-hmm. There's actually a few different variations of vampire cousins where they're vampires, but it's not vampires.
Yeah.
People that suck blood, let's say.
Okay. Bloodsuckers.
Bloodsuckers, yeah. One of the scary, like, I was actually terrified when I read about this.
Yeah.
It's the Filipino equivalent of a vampire called, this is going to be butchered, Mananagal. I don't know how accurate that is. It's spelled sort of how I say it, Mananagal, with a double G. Basically, it's an evil spirit in the Filipino culture that detaches her torso from her lower half and then takes flight during the night to eat infants.
That infant blood.
Yeah.
That tastes different from that full-grown blood, doesn't it?
Oh, it gets worse. It's not just infants, it's...
Go on, tell the rest of it. We'll find. Let's release it slowly.
So basically, it's a torso that detaches itself from its body. It's got a super long tongue and wings, and it flies off. And apparently, this tongue it's like a needle almost. So it punches. So it lands on your roof. Mm-hmm. If you're pregnant with a baby, it would get its tongue, pierce through the roof, come down, and then suck the baby out while the mom's sleeping. Yeah.
Good soup?
Not good soup. Bad soup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like, you can see the picture there. That is...
Jesus.
It's quite scary.
Well, how do you kill it?
So to be able to kill the mananagal, there's different ways. Mostly it's sunlight. So as it goes off and does its business, it leaves its lower half hidden somewhere. So normally it's in like a dark alley or back corner.
Imagine walking and seeing like half of a body just chilling.
Yeah. So what you need to do, if you come across one, is you need to burn the lower half. Basically, you have to stop it from reattaching itself to the legs. And then that way, when the sunlight comes, it will die. If it's reattached, it doesn't die in the sunlight.
Right. Oof. There's no window because you gotta find the other half.
I think it says something about putting salt. So small containers of salt, ash, and raw rice, and the smell of burning rubber are said to deter the managal from approaching one's house. So that's how you can stop it from coming.
We all have raw rice.
And then to be able to kill it, salt, ash, and or garlic should be placed on the exposed flesh, so the lower half of its body, preventing the monster from combining again and leaving it vulnerable to sunlight.
Okay, aside from like figuring out where, if you know someone who you suspect is a manananggal, just stalk them, know when they detach, strike.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's a scary, scary creature, and they should definitely make a horror film about it. Shout outs to Filipino filmmakers. Get on it. But it's crazy.
That's very crazy. If you have a chance, search an image of this thing because honestly, terrifying. Like, look at you see the blood dripping down from its body on the pictures.
It must hurt though to detach.
Yeah, because it's like werewolf transformation. That shit looks like it hurts. Stop my windows.
That is the coolest variation of a vampire that I've ever heard in my life, I have to say. That's badass.
Badass in a scary way.
Yeah, badass in a scary way. Like, Jesus.
I'd still rather be Dracula rather than a banana.
True, like, jeez.
So another subtype of vampires that I found was the Chinese hopping vampires. I know it's a very big contrast when you see an image of the Chinese hopping vampire compared to the Mananagal. It's a little comedic. I mean, even the name, Chinese hopping vampires. What are you gonna? Are you picturing like?
Yeah,
it's the Easter Bunny coming in, you know. But the Jiangshi, these creatures may be identified by their attire. They normally wear the Qing Dynasty official uniform.
of course.
You have to have the costume to suit you, you know? Just so people know who you are.
That's all they wear. Nothing else.
But, like, I don't know how they are created.
Mm-hmm.
So is it, like, you get bit by one of and suddenly the uniform
Someone knocks on your door and delivers a uniform the next day.
Sir,
Welcome.
you are now officially a Jiangshi.
Welcome.
But you can tell who is a Jiangshi because they have the arms stretched out.
Do they always have that stretched out?
Pretty much always, yeah. Because they're coming for you, you know.
Oh, China.
So the arms of these creatures are permanently outstretched, apparently due to rigor mortis. And they hop rather than walk.
Why?
Because rigor mortis, you know, you can't move your legs, so you have to, you got to do that Mario jump.
Oh my God.
But that makes sense, you know, you got rigor mortis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's so
stiff.
easy to, like, get away from.
It's true, yeah, you just trip him up.
It's just run.
Oh my God, if you tripped him up on his back, how's he...
Can't get back up, that's it. That's actually how you defeat them.
Oh my God, yeah, it is wet. So yeah, they hop rather than walk, and some look like normal humans, while others are a little more decomposed as a result of being dead for a longer period of time. They are often depicted with sharp teeth, long nails, and emitting a green phosphorus glow. I mean, I've never trusted anything with a green phosphorus glow, so
And
I'm not going to start now. In the sense,
stinky.
I mean, maybe that's what it is. If you're decomposing, you do gonna be stinky. So they're created when a person suffers a violent death. For instance, suicide, hanging, or drowning.
Jeez.
Yeah. Such deaths cause the soul to be unable to leave the body, thus resulting in a reanimated corpse. Another belief is if a burial was postponed after death, a dead body may become restless and return to haunt the living. Oh, weirdly enough as well, corpses that have been struck by a bolt of lightning or hopped over by an animal, particularly cats, never trusted cats, are said to turn into the undead creatures.
I'm sorry, you can't go from you have to, suffer an immense painful death too, or a cat jumping over your corpse. What is happening? Why?
Cats are evil.
Cats get like such a bad rep.
Yeah, because they're assholes. Dogs will love you all day.
That's what you think.
Cats will disappear, then come back and be like, "Where's my food?"
Yeah.
The bitch.
Trust no one. Suspect everyone.
The Jiangshi are not entirely without basis in fact. During the Qing dynasty, efforts were made to return the bodies of Chinese workers who died far away from home back to their places of birth.
That's nice.
This was done so that their spirits would not grow homesick.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Right, that's pretty nice. The coffins were attached to bamboo poles that rested on the shoulders of two men. As they went on their journey, the bamboo poles would flex. Viewed from afar, this would look like as if the dead were bouncing on their own accord. Ooh, that's scary.
Spooky.
So if you ever come across a Jiangshi or a hopping vampire,
trip them up and then run.
Also good. But he might do like the Undertaker style thing where he just like zoom.
But that would be scary. That would be bad. Although you can't do the Undertaker thing and then go to hopping. I'm sorry. Does this say how fast they hop? Does this say how fast they hop?
It doesn't know.
Okay.
Just says that.
I'm picturing regular hopping, like a human with their like feet tied.
See, it must be pretty like because vampires have the extra strength, so it must be a little bit extra.
A Hulk jump.
Otherwise, you could, like you said, you can just outrun them.
Yeah.
If you wanted to kill a Jiangshi, the blood of a black dog. See, dogs.
Why is it gotta be black, huh?
Who knows? Black cats, black dogs.
White horse.
Very color oriented.
What if I got a brown horse? Will that still show me where the vampires are? What if I got the blood of a grey dog? Would that still do what needs to be done?
Apparently a black dog has been proven and tested and is confirmed to be right. You could try a grey dog. If it works, let the people know.
Let the people know. Variety, you know? Yeah. You gotta give the black dogs a break, you know? I'm talking to you, grey dogs. You've had it good for too long. We're coming for you.
So that glutinous rice... Rice is very a big one. Yeah, wow. Rice is very...
Oh my God.
I've never heard that before.
Right? Oh my God. Love rice. It's good for the skin.
That's why I love rice.
Good for the stomach. Like, wow. Good for your plants. Rice water.
Showing it a mirror because it fears its reflection. Me in the morning. Chicken eggs. Throwing money on the floor. See, oh wait, no, that's another thing. Because they'll stop to count it. That's the thing with the...
Oh, with the LCD.
Sunflowers, yeah.
Could you imagine running from a vampire with your whole chest and you're like, you know, do I eat tomorrow or do I survive today?
See, but back in the day, it'd be coins. So we'd have to pick up all the coins.
See, I'll be like checking it out like £1. Chucking a two quid back there because it's a bit bigger. Well, yeah, it's gonna pick it up.
It just bam, that reflex.
Okay, fine. I just throw it on the floor. But I'll take my jar of 1p and 2p. Oh, we're going to be there for a while, bad boy. Because guess what? How much is in there? £10, baby. I got pennies for days.
Also, to defeat the vampire, the urine of a virgin boy.
No. It's always something to do with little boys. It's not great. I'm sorry.
I feel like...
I don't need to be this close to this many little boys in my life in order to be safe from vampires. It's not great. It's not a good thing. God damn it.
It's weird.
Why can't it be an adult virgin? Why does it have to be a little boy?
I just feel like pedophiles just came in like, oh yeah, I'm hunting a vampire. I need your pee. People are just like, yes, we'll get that for you.
So it's like that guy who was on like My Strange Addiction, who was like addicted to like drinking like people's urine.
Listen.
He set a tube up in the urinals. So when it goes down, and then they caught him, and they're like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh,
I've lost faith in humanity."
And then they like he got told to stop doing that. So I think he put like bottles to collect it. I don't really know why.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
My thing is, why can't you just drink your own pee? Weird guy. Why does it have to be other people's?
But that's weird. That's sick.
It is sick. It's disgusting. Stop drinking people's pee.
I'm just gonna move on from that part now because
You're tainted.
I am. I'm gonna be forever unclean. My mind has been. I did not need to know about the drinking the pee thing.
I'm just letting you know that there's real weirdos out there. Watch out. Watch out, kids. Watch out.
Moving on. Yeah, so talking about proper weirdos, there are people out there that believe that they have to drink blood. So according to them, when they don't drink blood, they get very cranky. They just feel very low energy. They don't feel like 100% themselves. Once they drink some blood, they're faster, they're better, they're stronger. I don't know how you find this out either. Because what part of you is like, oh, do you know why I'm feeling ill? It's not diabetes. It's not some illness. It's because I need to drink blood. Although, maybe they have an iron deficiency. And I don't know.
Take some tablets.
Honestly, yes.
I have an iron deficiency and I take tablets.
Yeah.
Why did you look at me like that?
Because I thought you were about to say something weird. You know, sometimes you know people, but you don't truly know them until you know. But don't worry, you're one of the good iron deficient people.
Apparently, spinach, kale. I'm giving you alternatives here.
They don't like the vegan alternatives.
Well, you can mix it with meat.
But yeah, so they call themselves sanguinarians, and they feed on very small amounts of human blood, generally just a few drops.
Whose is it?
Whose
is it, Bobby? Whose few drops of blood is that from?
So there's a bunch. It's like a whole community. Some people
is it to each other. They're like, I'm gonna cut myself. You drink. You do a little sucky, and then stalker. And then you cut yourself, we do an exchange.
Kind of. There is.
You know what?
Also, some people that they don't drink blood, but they just like having their blood drunk.
Where do you meet?
I honestly, it's a community.
What's going on? Is this the internet's fault? Is this the internet's fault? Because
it feels like it should be.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. There's probably a Facebook group, because there always is with these things.
Reddit group.
Yeah, where they're like, hey, am I the asshole for wanting my blood sucked? Oh, Lord. Okay. See, I told you, human vampire. I told you. This is what I actually believe in. Not that I believe in like a woohoo go in. Like, I genuinely, there are people like this out there. It's true.
And then there's the lifestyle vampires, which are...
Picturing like influencer vampires.
Kind of.
Oh, wow.
They're just like vampires who, they don't think they're vampires, they don't drink blood, but they like the aesthetic of vampires. Okay. So they wear like the Victorian costumes. Goths. Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But I guess more vampiristic than goth.
Okay. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. They're not doing any harm. Fair enough. It's a style. Like, you said you like that style from like era from...
Yeah.
So... there's nothing wrong with that. Genuinely, I think that's okay. As long as you're not drinking people's blood.
Yeah, apparently they don't.
Good.
And then there's psychic vampires. Well, psychic people vampires. Although there is also some psychic vampires. We never mentioned that. In What We Do in the Shadows, there's a psychic vampire. And apparently he just drains people's energy. So he's like so dull and just so bland when he talks to people. He's draining the energy and they just get tired and just...
He would be good at like reading bedtime stories.
Yeah, he's an emotional vampire. And then I guess the psychic human people think they're the same as that. Basically, they have auras that protect their energy and chakras. And psychic vampires feed by sipping life energy through a tentacle that's attached to those auras. Although,
okay.
That's a very weird way of putting it.
That is a very, very weird way of putting it.
A lot of vampires have consenting donors, people who have lots of energy and don't mind giving some of it away. There's also tantric feeding, which involves sexual contact. The real good energy comes from creative, passionate types like artists or religious figures. It's just weird. It's very weird. Because I know there is people who can see, like, it's like they can see the color of your aura or something like that. Where I don't know what it's based on.
You mean Betty from Riverdale?
No, it's an actual real thing where it's like...
I know, it's just funny to make that reference.
I don't know if it smells or something, but they see it as color.
Okay. Oh, you mean like an actual, like, the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So maybe these people are like that. And then they thought, oh, I'm seeing that aura and I can take energy from it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Because there's people that say, oh, your aura is the color of this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I find that kind of cool.
Yeah. It's cool.
Mm.
It's a different way of like people seeing the world and interpreting the world.
But
I know there's like a thing with music. Like some people will hear music and they picture like a specific color or colors associated with it. Yeah.
It's cool. But yeah, I just don't get people that think they're vampires. Because if I was let's say I was a vampire.
Yeah.
And I saw these people pretending to be vampires, I'd be pissed. Cultural appropriation. You know? Either be the vampire.
Or don't. But they can't.
They can't what?
Be a vampire.
Have a cat jump over your grave.
Stop it now. Stop it. Leave the cats alone. Leave them be.
Find someone to curse you, you know? If you really wanted it that badly, go do it. Go find it. Go to Romania. Go to Transylvania. Try and find Drac.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, I tried to look for actual, like, vampire attacks just to see if it would be real.
Yeah.
There was, like, a few of people biting other people especially in New Zealand. There was a lot of people biting people in New Zealand. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe look into it. I guess if you take away, I don't know if they've banned knife crime. Maybe once you go from guns to knives to teeth, you know.
What happened?
Well,
you just said teeth, and then you're like, oh, and then you.
Because it's very weird. Basically, there was 3 guys coming from a party in New Zealand. This was back in 2010. So they left a party and were walking over Mount Victoria when the attack happened. So the guy started hit on his girlfriend, And then his friend and his girlfriend went and attacked the guy. The guy who attacked you said he understood there was blood drinking, but said that wasn't me. The other guy said, yeah, I bit a guy. He hit on my missus. My girlfriend and my mate were biting him. I was angry with him, so I used it as an excuse. So, your girlfriend and your friend's biting him. Might as well join in.
The girlfriend and my mate were biting him. I was angry at him, so I used it as an excuse.
It's a good defense. A great defense.
You guys are biting people. I am a bit angry. Time to jump on in.
Yeah. Let me get a little nibble.
A little bit of that.
A little nibble. A little cheeky bite.
That's so funny. What the hell?
But yeah, and then in New Zealand again, over the past 2 days, a woman was accused of biting a man's neck so hard her teeth cut through an artery, while another woman was arrested after allegedly chomping on a woman's ear.
Oof.
The man lost so much blood he was taken to hospital in serious condition. See, but I feel like this is just like
bath salts.
Yeah, bath salts. I don't know, rabies, something, because it doesn't sound like a vampire style,
Because they're not drinking blood, they're just biting.
They're chomping.
Yeah.
Chomping down. Zombies.
Zombie?
In Malawi 2017, victims claimed they are being attacked in the night by vampires. So they went out and got some vigilante justice. They killed quite a few people. Don't know if they were vampires. God. At least 7 people have been killed in the district. Jamia, a 40-year-old single mother, said that an attacker entered her home and sucked her blood out. This is a quote from her. I know my blood was sucked. I saw light on the corner of my roof. I failed to stand up from my bed and felt something piercing my left arm, she said, pointing near her breast. Her story is part of a long line of similar testimonies in Malawi, where belief in witchcraft and vampire activity is widespread and rouses revenge mobs that kill those suspected of black magic.
I want to read you something. It's from the film Let the Right One In. We'll watch it. But basically, it's set in Blackburg, Stockholm, in 1982. So this is the synopsis. So with nothing but liberating revenge on his mind, 12-year-old Oscar, the classmates bullied undesirable daydreams about getting even. But he is one and there are many. As dark thoughts command courage, Oscar has a pivotal encounter with a cryptic next-door neighbor, Ellie, a raven-haired stranger coming as a friend. Sometimes, all people want is a little push to keep them going. However, vengeance and justice don't mix, and blood never forgets. In a quiet suburb, now rife with violence and murder, has Oscar placed himself in harm's way? With conflicting emotions, challenging reasons, can the boy forgive and forget to let the right one in?
So, is that about letting a vampire into the house? Well, yeah, that's another thing with vampires we didn't mention, that you have to give them permission to enter your house, which I kind of like, because vampires are supposed to be like gentlemen.
Yeah. So with this one, Ellie is over 200 years old. She's from Sweden, and she's able to withstand the cold, and she has an inhumane scent. So, like, obviously where they are, it's very, 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 very cold. Like, it's snowing most of the time. And, like, you see the boy Oscar, he's constantly wearing, like, coats, like, coat. And she'll rock up in, like, shorts and, like, a t-shirt.
She's cold.
She's like, what the hell? She sleeps in the bathtub.
Of course.
Which can represent a coffin. And she has to be invited into someone's home before she can enter. She's more than 200 years old, but she looks like a 12-year-old. So she's...
Wait, she looks like a 12-year-old?
Yeah. She looks like a child, a 12-year-old child, yeah.
Because she had her own house, I thought. She was the neighbor.
I'll get that in a minute. So, she's first thought to be a girl because of what he looks like. But in reality, he was born a boy and had his genitalia removed. So, yeah, exactly. So they moved to a small town with their companion Hakan, who poses as Ellie's single father. In reality, Ellie manipulates Hakan, a former teacher and pedophile, into serving her and being responsible for procuring blood for her.
Damn.
I know, crazy. So I kind of like this one because it's a very different like version of a vampire than what we see. But these are her weaknesses: severe sensitivity to fire and light.
Obviously.
Fair enough, that fits with a vampire stereotype. And she couldn't enter a person's home without verbal consent. Otherwise, she would begin to bleed out through every orifice until she either died or was invited into someone's home. And we have a scene of it where the boy, Oscar, asks, like, he's always like, why are you always asking if you're going to come into my house? Like, what's that about?
Wait,
just come in.
Does she have to ask every time?
I think so, yeah.
Damn.
He's like, I think so. If I remember, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I think it is, yeah. He's like, why are you always asking? And it's like, oh, because like I have to be invited in. He's like, what happens if you're not invited in? She walks in through the door and she starts just blood. And just, yeah, it's awful. Until the boy's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, you can come in, and it stops. But yeah.
Because in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's the same. You have to be invited in.
Yeah.
But it's more like if he's not invited, there's a barrier. So they just hit it.
Oh, right.
But once they're invited in, they can always come back.
Right.
Unless, because there was an episode where they had to do a ritual, which re-cleansed the house. So anyone that had been invited in would have to be re-invited.
It's quite a cool idea that to like invite them in to where you are, because it just makes sense with like those kinds of things.
See, but what I always find weird is, couldn't you just hypnotize them when they open the door and be like, invite me in?
You can.
But that's not fair. That's cheating. I guess because that's how you adapt over the situation. But
yeah,
I don't see that's fair. That's not proper consent.
With a lot of the stuff that I watch, sometimes it's really hard to like hypnotize people. It doesn't always work. And the vampire has to be pretty powerful in order to actually hypnotize people into doing stuff. Otherwise it doesn't work. But yeah, just in terms of other things in media. So we talked about Twilight. With Twilight, it's a bit more different because they don't die from lack exposure to sunlight or UV. They more sparkle. And it's meant to represent their skin being as tough as diamonds.
I hate it.
But instead of that being metaphorical, it is very physical. And they sparkle. Sparkles. But their abilities include super speed, strength, and depending on each person has a different power. So Alice can see visions of the future. Edward can read minds. You've got Rami Malek, his vampire, can control the elements.
They never say what like the other guys can do that like in their family. What's his name? Carlisle?
Oh my God, that's a good point, actually.
Like him, the dude that was the Confederate soldier.
Hey.
And then Emmett?
Yeah.
Oh, even the woman that's obsessed with babies.
Maybe it's not all of them then? Oh, okay. So, Bella's got a mental shield. We see that. We've got Edward with telepathy. Emmett is supposed to be strength. What's pathokinesis? Oh, that's what he can do.
The pathokinesis, the ability to change people's
emotions. So that's what his power is. I think it's because some of them aren't super, super, like, useful, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, like Rosalie's beauty. She is super beautiful, yes. We all can agree on that. But, like, all the vampires are beautiful. So it's kind of like, all right. Carla, it says it's an elevated sense of compassion that allows him to resist human blood. I guess that kind of ties into what we were saying earlier as to why he can be a doctor and he can be around the blood. And I think that's why he's kind of president of convincing them to be, vegetarian. And then Esme, his wife, the gift is to love the people around her passionately. I mean, that just sounds like sounds like human emotions. Anyway, each individual person in Twilight has powers, and I guess this depends on their personality or whatever. Only way to kill a vampire in the Twilight verse is to dismember his or her body, burn the remains before it can reconstruct itself. So their weakness is the strength of their own kind or something as strong which cannot be copied by humans, and fire that consumes them. So it's essentially fire, decapitation and fire.
The idea of being immortal and being a vampire sucks. Oh, I can't touch silver.
Yeah.
Wouldn't stick to the heart, I'm dead. Well, I mean, that kills anyone.
Everyone, yeah.
But still.
It's just true. We're not falling asleep now. I mean, nobody stakes me.
Fire, again, that kills everyone.
Yeah.
But my point is, if I'm supposed to be immortal and I'm still dying by fire, which kills everyone.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but like you get like smallpox and die. I'm alive, well, unfazed, unbothered.
So is so many other people that have a good immune system.
Yeah, but their immune system has now been weakened in the process. Mine still the same.
I still call bullshit.
You go frail and age, and gravity starts to take a toll on your body. That doesn't affect me, which is insane, by the way, because gravity. What the fuck? So with young Dracula, their powers are. I put pale, but that's not a power. That's just what they look like.
Pale.
Their eyes can change color.
I will say this. I did like the fact in Twilight there was a black vampire. You never see black vampires.
You actually don't know.
You're supposed to be white
pale,
vampire.
Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, why is it that you're supposed to be pale? I feel like the pale comes from the fact that you don't have any blood circulating in your body.
Yeah, because
black people can also not have blood circulating on their body. We die.
Because your skin's supposed to become like tougher because rigor mortis, no blood.
Yeah.
So you can't express emotions as much.
I don't know. So yeah, the eyes change color. So from red to black. I think when they're hypnotizing you, they turn red. They're immortal and they're nocturnal, which differs from the Twilight vampires because they don't sleep at all. In the right one in Eli sleeps in a bathtub, which is kind of like a coffin. But in Young Dracula and in Bram Stoker's Dracula, they sleep in coffins and they are awake during the night, which is usually the times where they go hunting. They also both have the ability to shapeshift, so transform into animals, more specifically the bat. In Bram Stoker's Dracula, they have the ability to talk, to communicate with the dead, telepathy, and much, much more. But their weaknesses are religious symbols, sunlight, and garlic, which apparently may not kill them, but significantly makes them weak.
Yeah.
In Young Dracula, the weaknesses are also sunlight, steak, and garlic, and also, like I mentioned before, not eating. There you go.
There seems to be like the general consensus.
Yeah.
And then every now and then there's the added one of like sunlight and silver.
Yeah. But
and holy water. Holy water.
Religious symbols as well, across every religious shit.
Because I guess the undead, the demons of such.
Yeah, that come from there, and yeah.
Because I just remember this.
Mm-hmm.
In What We Do in the Shadows, there was a scene in it where they drink the blood of people that had done drugs and that were drunk.
Yeah.
And they got drunk from drinking that blood.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because when we eat stuff, do you know what I mean? We consume stuff that affects us.
But does that mean the blood's circulating in their body? How does it? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. But like in Vampire Diaries, they're allergic to vervain. So when people, what they would do, the vampire hunters and some of the people, to protect themselves, they would eat food with vervain in it, so that if it then sucked their blood, it would then flow in, it would poison them.
Smart. Is that the same with garlic as well then? So if you eat garlic, there's be more like a bit of a sting.
To be honest. Because so many people eat garlic, so I feel like it would get to a point where they can't eat many people.
I feel like it'd have to be a large amount.
Yeah. One speaking of like different types of vampires, Byzantium, which is a film, in that they don't have fangs, but what they can do is grow their fingernails, particularly their thumb. And what they do is they pierce the vein. What's this? The vein that's on your wrist.
I don't know.
They sort of just poke that through and pierce the vein through and suck it through that because it's more subtle. And what they would do in that, instead of feeding on one of the characters, instead of feeding on like people who are alive and well and stuff, she would go to elderly people who are about to die and kind of basically finish them off by poking them through and then drinking it from there. And in that movie, if I remember correctly, in order to be turned into a vampire, there was a specific mountaintop that was magical that you'd have to be taken to. And then you would have to die while you're there. Your blood drains. And then, yeah, that's how you became
It's too much for me. Too extra.
I mean, hey.
I'm going to be a vampire. It has to be in the comfort of my home.
Exactly. And we haven't talked about it, but supernatural vampires don't have the single fangs, the two fangs.
They have like
that come out. Yeah, they have a whole set of other teeth that are like hidden above their other teeth that kind of come out and grow out when they're feeding, and they like travel in like it's like they have to have hive in order to properly survive. So if they're alone, they will notoriously stop creating a hive in a specific location. And in order to turn you in, you have to drink their blood.
Yeah, but also to kill them, there's like what is it? Dead man's blood.
Yeah,
so you have to get the blood of someone who's died. Weakens them.
Yeah, it's like poison to them.
Because they only die by decapitation. Though.
Yeah, the head. Yeah.
So out of all the vampires that we've talked about, which one's coolest and most likely to exist?
Coolest is the Manananggal to this day. That's the coolest.
I wouldn't say coolest, scariest.
Scariest, but like pretty cool. Most likely to exist, I would say either the Byzantium version, which I know I mentioned really briefly, but they're very subtle. They can go out in the sun, if I'm not mistaken. And they don't have fangs. Their nails just grow. That's so subtle you would never notice it. And then it's just like a prick, and then you suck the blood a little bit, enough so that it just looks like they just died and their blood stopped circulating. On the human vampires, by that I mean the people that just go around in communities and drink each other's blood.
That's weird.
That's my stats. I would say the human vampires, and the coolest being going to the Manananggal. Well done, Manananggal. What about you?
See, because I didn't mention it too much, but the one that I think most likely to exist is the vampire from X-Files. Because I can't remember it too well, but there was like a little community where I believe vampires would be in like a little community.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the fangs. I don't know if they needed to drink blood or if the kid was just really wanted to drink blood.
Fair enough.
Because he liked the idea of vampires more. But if they did get staked, they didn't just like disappear. Because in Buffy, you get staked, they turn to ash. Which is kind of makes sense because I guess depending on how old they are, they would be ash already or something. I don't know. But once you took it out, he came back to life. So I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
And I believe, because they try to keep a low profile, don't drink blood.
Yeah.
That's more likely to exist.
Yeah, less flashy.
But the Mananagal is definitely the scariest.
Oh, yeah. But our cool list is the same. And I think our like most likely is very similar in the sense it's like more about Loki and not so obvious. But yeah, not like Dracula.
But I still wouldn't say I believe in vampires.
Yeah, we're still non-believers. But they are really interesting.
It is.
Like very, very interesting. Well, that ends our episode 2 of the podcast. We've sort of went through quite a lot there, to be honest, to be for real. I think it was more us fangirling over the idea of vampires more than anything. But we hope that you enjoy listening to us and our weirdness.
If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to check out our first one on mermaids. See you next time.